Hi everybody. So in the last video I kind of finished up working on the sidearms for the canopy and it kind of test fit those on. We have a special guest, First Officer is here. The quasi-Varney sunglasses really hammered that look home. You know, I think that's a members only jacket on. So, we are going to be working on more of the canopy today. Before we go into that, though, so you see me, and you see below me, you see a gigantic circuit breaker board. I had been working at home, obviously without getting the video feed for you guys, of kind of fleshing out the rest of this board. So there will be a picture of this. In fact, you know what? Here, picture here. Yeah, that's a big ugly mess, isn't it? So there's a lot to really talk about here. In fact, especially when you see this picture here, there's a lot to unpack. So let's get into a little bit of that real quick. Righto. So when we're talking about doing circuit breakers, right? So it's the power distribution for the entire plane. And as you can see, I've got mine made up of 6 rows of 5 breakers. Now each one of those, as you saw from the back panel, has a copper bar that distributes power. So the power still needs to go to the loads, and you use that with wires. So here's a picture of what one row looks like with some nice proper wire put in. You can see I've got it moved off to the side, and okay, so I'm using wire ties. I'm not going to be using wire ties. Normally I would just be using lacing tape, which is much more easy on the wires and won't cut them. Wire ties can't cut. But yeah, so imagine that times 6, and that's basically what I've got going on. I've redistributed them, and I'll take some pictures of those later, and we'll get more into that in the future. That has to deal with the bus manager, etc., etc. So, yeah, my EFII system for my engine also has a bus manager that comes with it that handles all of the power distribution for all of your different buses, and it's awesome because you don't need a master contactor anymore. It handles automatic switchover. It handles, handling 2 batteries for starting. We'll get into all that later. But I just wanted you to check that out because I'd gone ahead and started fiddling with that again. Okay, so back to the actual canopy. So what I'm working on here, I'm working on the handle. So the old school Vans planes, when you had a tip-up canopy. I don't know if it's just for tip-up. I'm not 100% sure about sliders. Someone who has a slider can comment on this. But the idea was that you pulled the tip-up canopy down, and then once it was shut, once it was closed, you actually turned the handle, the pull-down handle, and it became a friction lock, right? So the ones in the Vans 14 don't do that anymore, okay? So the handle you pull down to close the canopy, and that's all it does. It's just a handle, and that's what I'm riveting together here, and that's it. The canopy will actually stay closed via a series of pins, and the handle, which you saw me putting on I don't remember, like 6 months ago or something like that. Anyway, in a couple of months, you'll actually see it get to work. So the back of the canopy closure has another piece of roll bar, and that's what you see me working on here. So that will actually kind of marry to the main roll bar, right? So you pull it down, and then those two will be right next to each other. And then the main canopy piece of acrylic will basically buttress up to the rear window. At least I think that's how it's supposed to go. I honestly haven't gotten there yet, so. Yeah, anyway, 2 videos twice a week. I hope y'all like the new format. So I'm going to save any rant time for later this weekend. I really don't have much. We're not going to talk about it. Besides, I'm being vindicated left and right. The only thing I want you people to remember is this phrase: the cure is worse than the disease. You're going to be hearing that a lot in the next couple of weeks. I'll elaborate on that this weekend. So thanks for joining me, and see you soon.